I was sipping coffee on my porch, savoring the quiet of my secluded corner plot, when the screech of tires shattered the peace. A black SUV roared down my private driveway, gravel flying like shrapnel. The driver, a cocky kid in a Letterman jacket, didn't even glance my way as he barreled past my garage, swerved around my dog, Rusty, and tore through a flimsy gate I sure as hell didn't install. Before I could process it, another car followed, then another. My dead-end driveway, on land I'd paid a fortune for, had become a freeway. This wasn't a mistake. This was an invasion. 3 days earlier, everything had been fine. My wife, Lisa, and I chose this property for its long, curving driveway, a buffer from the chaos of the main neighborhood road. I'm an industrial engineer, working from home, and silence is my lifeline. But that week, I'd noticed fresh tire marks scarring the edges of my lawn. At first, I chalked it up to the mail carrier or a neighbor's kid practicing donuts. No big deal. Then I found it. A wooden stake driven into my grass with a paper sign that read, Community Access Route Temporary Approval by HOA. I'm not naive. I've seen HOAs nitpick over mailbox colors for hours, but turning my private land into a public road? That was next-level audacity. Still, I figured it might be a mix-up. I yanked the sign out, marched to the HOA officia converted model home with too many fake plants and demanded answers. That's when I met Vanessa, the HOA president. She had the smug posture of someone who'd never been wrong and a voice that could sell overpriced candles until you dared disagree. Then it turned sharp, like a knife hidden in silk. "Oh, it's just a temporary solution," she said, smiling like I was a lost puppy. "Construction on Oak Street is clogging traffic. Your driveway's so convenient." I told her she had no right to reroute cars through my property. Her smile tightened as she tapped her tablet. "Actually, it's adjacent to the community boundary, which makes it a soft access zone per board approval." I demanded to see this soft access zone in any legal document. She promised to show me at next month's meeting conveniently after the construction was set to wrap. I left fuming but tried to stay calm. Maybe a gate would fix it. But the next morning, I found HOA contractors had already torn out one of my shrubs, laid cheap gravel across my yard, and set up traffic cones with a painted sign. "Exit only, please drive slow." On my land. That night, I called my cousin, Nate, a lawyer who's more backyard barbecue than courtroom, but a shark with property law. I told him everything. "Document it all," he said. "Photos, timestamps, everything. Don't touch their gate yet. Let them think they're winning." I asked what to do next. "Let them drive," he said with a grin I could hear over the phone. "We'll make them pay for every inch." The next day, it got worse. I was on the porch when a caravan of SUV-7, maybe 8, rolled through like my driveway was a public highway. One honked at my trash can for being in the way. Another driver waved like I was a damn valet. The final straw? A mom in a minivan stopped to ask if I could move my mailbox to make her turn easier. That evening, I caught my neighbor, Greg, lingering by my hedges, looking guilty. Greg's a solid guy, the kind who volunteers for HOA cleanups but ducks board meetings to go fishing. I pressed him. He glanced around, then whispered, "Vanessa's pushing to make this permanent. She's petitioning the county to call your driveway an easement, some emergency route nonsense. She's got 2 signatures already, just needs 3 more." That night, I stood by my driveway with a beer, Rusty at my side, staring at the tire tracks. They were trying to steal my land, not figuratively, literally. I'd paid for this plot, this driveway, and now Vanessa and her HOA cronies thought they could annex it with signs and signatures. But they'd miscalculated. They didn't know I used to design deterrent systems for logistics hub steel spikes, tire shredders, remote gates. I took a long sip and muttered to Rusty, "Time to fight dirty." Before I could act, the HOA escalated. I was brushing my teeth when Rusty went berserk, barking like the yard was under siege. From the bathroom window, I saw 4 guys in neon vests labeled Community Grounds Crew, sawing through my wooden fence with power tools. Not trimming, demolishing. I sprinted outside, barefoot, shouting for an explanation. One waved casually. "Vanessa approved this. We're opening access to the park trail for better flow." Flow. That word again. I pointed out my fence was on my deeded property. He shrugged. "Talk to Vanessa." They left a gaping hole in my fence, big enough for a truck to roll through. I called the police, reporting trespassing and property damage. The officer was sympathetic but hesitant. HOA disputes are usually civil, he said. Got proof of ownership? I offered my deed, plat map, even satellite images. He chuckled, but said it'd be tough without clear criminal intent. Sawing down a fence isn't intent. I asked. It's debatable, he replied. That evening, I crashed the HOA's emergency town hall at the clubhouse, a tacky double-wide with stale cookies. I brought a poster of my property lines and a USB of security footage. Vanessa, perched at the head table like a queen, smiled. Oh, you're here. Wonderful. I laid out my case. Unauthorized traffic, destroyed fence, private land. Vanessa claimed the fence was a miscommunication and promised to review boundaries later. I offered to show the assessor's map right then. She declined. Then she dropped her bombshell, a PowerPoint titled Temporary Easement Proposal Parcel 12C. My parcel. It outlined plans to designate my driveway as an emergency access lane under HOA control. I shouted that it was private property, requiring county approval and my consent. She sighed. We'll let the board vote. The vote passed 3-2. Vanessa grinned. It's non-binding, but it gives us flexibility. Nate called as I left. He'd watched the live stream because, of course, Vanessa recorded it for transparency. She's screwed, he said. That vote's based on false claims, and it's on record. Catch her admitting she knew, and we've got her. When I got home, a letter from Vanessa was taped to my garage. Dear homeowner, please clear obstructions from the driveway for smooth community flow. Thank you for supporting a better tomorrow. With a smiley sticker. I sat with Rusty, watching another car nearly hit my hose, and laughed. She thought I was on defense. She had no idea I'd already filed a cease and desist through Nate, requested a county zoning review, and set up trail cams to record every car. Best of all, I was designing my masterpiece. Back in my logistics days, I worked on motorized strip steel spikes that could rise or lower remotely. Illegal on public roads, but on private property? Fair game. I ordered industrial gravel, retractable spikes, and a solar panel. Operation Iron Gauntlet was born. I turned my driveway into a car-hating fortress. The gravel was sharp, undercarriage scraping stuff from logging trails. The spike system, hidden under a gravel-covered plate, could shred tires in seconds. I tested it on my own car. Spikes up, tires gone. Perfect. I added a sign. Private property no through traffic proceed at your own risk. Within hours, Vanessa herself rolled up in a white Mercedes SUV, leading a convoy. I watched from the porch, iced tea in hand, as she hit the gravel, then the spike plate. I clicked the remote. Spikes up. Her tires burst with a glorious pft. Her SUV ground to a halt, rims chewing gravel. She stumbled out in heels, staring at her flattened tires, then spotted me. You sabotaged the road, she screamed. Driveway, I said. Private, not a road. She jabbed a finger. There are spikes. Yep, I replied. For uninvited guests. You'll hear from my lawyer. The next morning, an HOA letter demanded I remove the dangerous installations. I sent Nate's letter back, citing trespassing, property damage, and my signage. At the emergency board meeting, Vanessa, still livid, waved photos of her tires like evidence of a war crime. Nate stood, handed out my deed, and tore into her. This driveway isn't communal. Your vote was fraudulent, and this memo he held up Vanessa's plan proves you knew. The room went silent. A board member muttered, Are we liable? Nate grinned. Oh yeah. Vanessa stormed out. The shortcut traffic vanished overnight. But Vanessa wasn't done. A county inspector showed up, citing unauthorized land modifications and obstructing emergency access. I showed him my deed, maps, and Vanessa's memo. He chuckled. She's done this before, tried to rezone a neighbor's lot without permission. We fined the HOA. He confirmed my setup was legal and hinted at a county audit of the HOA. That night, I found security footage of HOA workers led by Vanessa's nephew, Tim, sneaking onto my land at midnight, cutting caution tape, and tampering with my gate. Trespassing. Attempted vandalism. I sent it to Nate. This is gold, he said. We'll show it at the next meeting. Then I played my ace. Months earlier, I'd bought a neglected triangle of land behind my fence, part of Vanessa's flow corridor. She thought it was communal. It wasn't. I owned it. At the next HOA meeting, Nate played the footage of Tim's midnight crew. The crowd gasped. I handed Vanessa the triangle's deed. Your shortcut's closed, I said. Her face collapsed. A board member called for a review of her actions. It passed unanimously. 2 weeks later, Vanessa tried one last stunt, an emergency ordinance to claim my driveway during disruptions. She even printed a map highlighting my land. Nate and I took it to the county. At the next meeting, the inspector, Mike, stood. This map's illegal. The ordinance violates zoning and property rights. We have footage of HOA tampering, and we're auditing your governance. The crowd roared. A no-confidence vote ousted Vanessa. She fled as a tow truck arrived to repossess an HOA vehicle for misused funds. Vanessa resigned the next day, leaving a bitter email. The HOA apologized, and I threw a barbecue on my driveway, unveiling a plaque. Private property violators will be spiked. Neighbors laughed, drank, and relaxed. As the sun set, Rusty sighed contentedly. The shortcut was dead. Vanessa was a footnote, and my gravel gleamed like victory.